One love to the humble, one love to the humble, one love to the humble. May grace and peace be multiplied unto you. Hey, it's very simple, right? Black voters don't understand the game. Black voters don't understand the game. And the things that we voting for, we don't really, it's not going to do us any good. The things that we voted for, right? It's not going to do us any good. And we look at how we vote, the things we vote for, why we vote for these things, it's not really helpful at all. We're always talking about improving the black community. We're always talking about we want things to be better, all that kind of stuff. But yet still, our voting habits are not good. I don't think we really understand voting. I think we just go by what the media tell us, how people say we should vote, things like that. I don't think we really understand how to vote. I just don't think we do because it seems like everything we voting for, I don't see how those things can help us at all. You know what I'm saying? I just don't see how it's beneficial the way we vote. So I really went over some things and I wanted to cover. I was doing some research and I looked it up and I say, let me go look at the trends and look at some of the ways we vote, right? And maybe that can make I can share this information. Maybe we just don't know. So first thing I'm gonna say is this. The first thing I'm gonna say is this. When it comes to voting, one of the things that I noticed that we do a lot of is we vote based. Our vote is more emotional than it is anything else. It's more of an emotional vote, meaning we're looking at things from a perspective of how it make us feel. We're not really looking at we're not really looking at what's good for the community. We're looking at how something make us feel because they throw a black face up on the thing and we ready to vote for that person right away. We don't know anything about them. We don't know their policies. We don't really care. And even if we find out their policies are not so good, we still, for some reason, vote for them just because they're black. That has been a problem. And the real when you really break it down, um, when you really break it down, it's like this. Look at it like this, right? Um, when we let's take Kamala Harris for example, or any black person they put up there that they say something that we like or they whatever reason. First of all, you must remember that those people are not like you. They're not like you at all. They're not like the black. They're not just because they look black. They're not the black people like you think they are. They're not the black people that understand what you're going through. That live next door to you, that's going through the same problems you're going through in your neighborhood. That's going through the same problems that you're going through at your job. Is going through the same problems you're going through with your kids. They don't have that problem. So they don't really understand that. So when you voted for them, they don't really they don't resonate they don't understand that struggle that you got. And if they ever been through it, they have long been removed from it and they don't remember what it was like. So back to my point is, so if you take somebody like Kamala Harris or anybody like that and you put them in position, I mean they get put in position to be a candidate, right? For to run. Now, what we thinking is, okay, we got to go out and vote for that person because that person is going to get us, going to do something for us. We need all the black people to jump on board and vote for that person. See, this system is not designed for black people to be voting. Now, yes, people went out in times long ago and they wanted to be able to vote. But one thing they're leaving out is those people were not voting for the same thing that we're voting for today. What we're voting for today is not the reason why they wanted to vote. They wanted to vote because they wanted to be a part of, not separate from. See, what we do when we voting today, we voting separately. And I'm gonna explain that when I go over this right here. It might not make no sense right now what I'm saying, but our vote is usually separate. We don't vote for to be a part of, we vote to be separated. Back then, they didn't see it wasn't about skin color. Like, oh, they knew what it was, but it wasn't. They wasn't voting to be separated. They was voting to be a part of. They wanted to be a part of. Okay, I keep emphasizing that because that's important. What I'm about to get into, they wanted to be a part of, not separated. So that's why they was voting back then. Now, yes, people didn't want them to be involved in the voting process because they didn't have any skin in the game, so to speak. Because voting back then was for like business owners, property owners, voting to protect their property. It gets a little deeper than that, but I don't want to go into that because that's off the subject of what I'm trying to say. But that was more like what it was about, partially. But there, we voting in a system. We are minority voting in a majority rule system. We are minority voting in a majority rule system. I don't care who they put up there. It's no way that our vote is going to make a difference. What I mean by that is, I don't mean it won't get that person in office. What I mean is, we alone can't shift nothing in the voting process unless it's for, it won't be for our benefit because it's not enough of us to make a dent in that, if that make any sense. We are a small group. We are 13% of the population. There's no way in the world 13% of the population can shift can have that much impact on voting where they gonna take out a big part of it and do something for us. That's not gonna work. We are a minority voting into a majority system. If every single black person voted, it would not be enough to shift the meter if all white people voted. All white people not gonna vote. All black people not gonna vote. All black people not gonna vote Democrat. All white people not gonna vote Democrat. All black people not gonna vote Republican. All white people not gonna vote Republican. So it's gonna always be split up. If you split 13% in half, what do you got? What, 6.5? I mean, um, yeah, 6.5, 12. I don't know, 6 point something, right? That's what you got. So it's no, if even that's just a straight split down the middle, and I know it ain't a straight split down the middle. So there's no way in the world our whether we vote Democrat or Republican, that 13% ain't even a whole voting group. It's still split. It's whatever the split is. I don't know, but it's split. So if it's split like that, it's no way in the world that our voting is making that big of a difference. We ain't moving no polls and shifting no nothing. I don't care what they tell us. That's not happening. And since that's the case, what we're asking for is a good chance we're not gonna get it simply because of the way they gotta give to the majority vote. That's who's gonna get what they really want to get is the people, the majority. The minority, you just a number to add to help push in what they're trying to push in. You ain't getting nothing out of it. They'll give you these things that we always vote for, these little things that don't mean anything to the whole community. They'll give us that. But the stuff that mean anything, we're not voting on that because that's separate. That's why I get back into the separate part. What we're voting for is not going to move us forward. Because to be able to move forward, you got to get in with what the majority is doing. And we don't like to be, most of us don't want to be in with the majority. We want to be separated. So since we're going to be separated over here, they're going to hand us little crumbs. And we're going to vote for those crumbs. And those are the things that we go after. We're not getting involved in the real stuff. It's a game, right? But we don't understand the game. We play a whole different game than they play. They playing, for example, basketball, where we out there trying to play football. It's a whole nother game. See what I'm saying? So we voting for things that's separate from what the majority of them are pushing for. Since we don't want to be involved in getting into what's really going on, and we want this little stuff over here, they'll give it to us. It don't make a difference. So let me explain what I'm saying. So criminal justice reform, that's not gonna do anything for black people. We vote for stuff like criminal justice reform. But what is that going to really do? What is reforming the criminal justice system going to do? It's just all it's doing is making it. We just making our criminals be more. We making people in our community that's criminals do more crime because they making it lighter sentences. They giving pats on the back. They giving all these. Oh, you're getting your sentence too long. Then they become repeat offenders. They're not afraid to go to prison. They're not staying there long enough. I mean, I don't think nobody should go to prison, but why are we voting on stuff like this? Why do we care about stuff like this? We got good law abiding citizens. We ain't focused on that. We more worried about the criminals because they getting too much time. What kind of sense do that make? Even if I was a criminal, I mean, if I was a criminal and committing crime, that's what I do. If I was doing that, so why do the criminal need some reform? Why do criminal justice need a reform? Why don't the people who commit crimes? Why don't we talk about before they get to the criminal justice system? Why ain't we dealing with that before that? Why ain't we putting things in place on our own to keep them from being in the system in the first place? But we make too many excuses, man, for people to do this kind of stuff. Voting rights protections. I just went over why that voting ain't making no difference for us because the things that we're voting for ain't really moving the race forward. We've been voting for a long time, and look at us. We ain't nothing happening. We still in the same spot we always been in. We ain't moved a bit. You can go look this stuff up. This ain't like they ain't hiding this information. We just don't look. I remember back in the day when I was coming up, they used to always say, "You want to hide something from a black person? Put it in a book." And it ain't nothing changed. We don't research. We don't look at nothing. And then when somebody tells us something like me, we want to come on here and argue against it. People want to argue me down about what I'm saying, but they can't never prove what I'm saying to be wrong. I don't mind you don't like it. I don't like reading it either. I don't like looking at it either, but it don't mean it ain't true. And anyway, affordable healthcare. We looking at stuff like affordable healthcare. What is that doing to move us forward? Affordable healthcare, how is that moving us forward? That just means we got more people in poverty that can't afford healthcare. More people ain't working to get good benefits. Why don't we handle that? Teaching people how to create businesses, teaching people how to get healthcare for their business, entrepreneurship, sole proprietorship. Why are we teaching people that? If you can't get a job, you're not getting jobs because you don't qualify, then you create a job. What happened to creating jobs like we used to do when we first came out of slavery? We was creating jobs. See, this healthcare would be an issue because they got programs that, not programs, but they got insurance that an entrepreneur can get for his company. If you that is that almost that's better than or rivals Medicaid and Medicare and all that. And most of it is better because it's quality, good quality insurance that you can get for your company that will be your insurance because you're an entrepreneur. You can get that kind of stuff. But see, this ain't stuff we looking up. We ain't looking for this. You see what I'm saying? This ain't stuff we looking for and doing. We too busy walking around complaining, blaming on somebody white when they ain't the problem. That's not the problem, man. We keep listening to these people tell us all these lies. And this other black people is telling you this stuff. Government assistance program. We do not need no more government assistance. That is not helping us. Government assistance ain't helping black people, man. It's only creating more of the same. You cannot get out of your situation if you got government assistance because you're not gonna be able to capitalize on that. Because the more assistance you get, the less working you can't work and get government assistance. It's gonna cross up because they're gonna look at how much money you're making. They're gonna look at all them things. It's no come up in that. You can't go beyond a certain amount of money or they're gonna take it away. And what black people gonna do? They gonna rather not work than the work to come off of it. That don't help. They keep us in a cycle of being at the bottom. But we voting for this stuff. We voting for government assistance programs. We don't need that. Public education funding. Public education funding for what? Look what public education. Darn, the pub tried to fly in my mouth. Public education funding. Come on, man. Man, that bug didn't like what I was saying. We don't need no public education funding. We don't need that. That's not something. What is that doing for us as a black community? Nothing. Raising minimum wage. If that ain't a scam, I don't know what to tell you. Raising minimum wage. Raising minimum wage is not going to change anything. It's certain jobs that's just not going. You don't supposed to stay at certain jobs for that's not supposed to be a career. But let me explain something to you. Even if it is, if I went to work at McDonald's and they started me off at I don't know $10 an hour, and that was the minimum wage. Unless you plan on staying at the bottom the whole time you're working there, what is the point of raising the minimum wage? You're gonna if you stay there, you get promoted. Your pay gonna go up anyway. And if you start off at high minimum wage, how far you're gonna cap out as soon as you start working? There ain't gonna be nowhere else to go. And then you know what they're gonna do? If they raise the minimum wage, they're gonna put robots, which they're already working on that. They're gonna put a robot in there because they're gonna pay you higher than minimum wage, and then you're gonna be complaining about the work. You don't want to come to work. You get sick. You're unreliable. All those things, and you're asking for more money. See, what's the way I was told was this: you can't get heat out of a stove unless you put the wood in. If you cold, you can't go up to the stove and say, "Hey, stove, give me some heat," and you ain't put the wood in. You got to put the wood in first for the heat to come back to you. Meaning, you have to put the work in for you to get the money. You don't get the money. The money don't come for the work. See, what we want to get paid hot top dollar, and then we'll work. No, we won't, because if you won't work, it ain't the money that's making you work. It's either in you or it ain't in you. That's what's making you work, not because they pay you well. If you're gonna do a good job, you're gonna do a good job regardless. The money just is the compensation for the work you perform. It ain't you don't just get paid a lot of money, then you start working hard. Ain't nobody's gonna do that. Most people are not going to start working hard because they got more money. If anything, they're gonna start getting lazier. But anyway, these are the things we vote for: raising minimum wage. It's not gonna do anything. Police accountability. Most black people don't even encounter the police at all. Most black people never come in contact with a police officer. If they do, it's never because of some kind of criminal activity. Most black people are not coming into contact with the police on that level for some type of accountability. What's happening is black people are trying to defend criminals. Once again we defending criminals. This is because black people want to defend criminals because they saw a black person get shot, a black person something happened to a black person, and the first thing they want to do is defend that. That's what this is all about. It ain't got nothing to do with nothing because most black people are not coming in contact with the police like that. What this is about defending criminals, and this is what we voted for. Anti-discrimination policies. One of the hardest things in the world to prove. Because if you tell a black person no and you're not black, or even if you are black, the first thing you're gonna say is you're gonna call you you're gonna say you're discriminating. Because you can't tell a black person no in this today. Because we've been convinced and brainwashed that that person don't like us because they didn't accept us. Or we don't qualify, but we think we should qualify. We do the bare minimum and we think we should qualify. And the fact that we don't qualify, we getting upset about it and we claim uh, discrimination or racism. Expanded social programs. Here we go again with these programs. We don't need no more programs. We need to teach people how to be self-sufficient. These are the things we're voting on. And we're wondering why these are not happening for us. We're wondering why things don't happen for us. See, white people vote on stuff like lower taxes, border security, immigration enforcement, gun rights. smaller government, things like that. I mean, it's different. I ain't gonna, I'm not gonna explain all of the stuff they vote on. I'm not gonna break it down like that. But I'm saying for us, these are the things that we're voting on, and it's not going to matter because we are the minority trying to do a majority in a majority system. That's not voting is not going to mean anything. It's a game. It's a game that black people are playing to lose. You're never going to win that. You're never ever going to win that. It's never going to happen. You can't put nobody in office. We don't have the voting numbers to do that. What you can do is they make you feel like you did something. They break you off a little piece of something and give it to you and make you so you feel happy. But what we need is we don't need voting. We don't need to be voting anymore. We need to be building communities and business and families. That's what used to keep us going through slavery. When we first came out of slavery through Jim Crow, it was the family unit and the self-sufficient living. Being self-sufficient is what made us strong. We was on par to surpass white people in business in all areas. But guess what happened to slow that all the way down and pretty much put us in reverse? Civil rights movement. Once the civil rights movement started, we went backwards. And we've been going backwards ever since. We are our, we are we are our own problem. And people don't like to hear that, but it is the truth. We so far of course right now, it ain't even funny. And now we can't even build relationships no more in our community. We are here pointing fingers at everybody else, blaming everybody else, and the problem is right at our front door. And all we gotta do is just open the door and kick it off the step. Because it's the reason our problem ain't none of that. It ain't got nothing to do with voting, ain't got nothing to do with the government, ain't got nothing to do with white people, ain't got nothing to do with our problem has nothing to do with that. It never has. Our problem is nowadays, well, we was doing good. But see, when the civil rights happened, that messed us all the way up. But prior to that, we was doing great. We was on par. Now we're not. We're not on par no more. We got gangster music. We got we got all the women want to twerk. We don't have no families. We got baby mamas. We got baby daddies. If you don't got no family structure, you ain't got no community. And we got all of the ingredients for the degeneracy in our community right now. And if you talk about it, other black people gonna come at you and call you names. Gonna call you names and call you Uncle Tom and sell out and butter bit. What do they say? You butter your bit. What else? Stupid stuff that we be saying, and the whole community just crumbling, and we out here calling each other names because people trying to show us where we wrong at, where we going wrong, and how we can fix it. But you got people out here saying stupid stuff like that. Like, what is wrong with us? Like, I don't understand what is going on, man. Like, it's hard to watch it when you know like these things are wrong, and you can't speak it to other black people without. It's like tough because you don't want. It ain't easy always facing this negativity and all this talk, this stuff that people be saying. You know what I'm saying? When you know, man, look, I done look this up. I know what to say. I know what's going on. And I'm trying to tell you. And then you look in the comment section and people calling you names. You know, it just make you want to give up. And I guess that's what they want you to do is just stop doing it. I guess they don't care about the community. They just rather see the community just fall apart. Well, I don't want the community to fall apart. I want somebody to be changed. I want somebody to see this video and say, you know what, maybe I can go in a different direction. If it ain't but one person that decide to change, that's good enough for me. I hate seeing it, man. But anyway, man, the game is on black people with this voting stuff. It's a trick. We don't need to vote to be successful in this country. To build our families back in order, get our family structure back in order, get rid of these baby mama, baby daddy, stop all this random sleeping around, and fix the community, man. Get rid of this gangster rap. Get rid of these rappers. All this nonsense got to go. It's enough of it, man. It's enough of it. We'd have had enough of this. Look where it got us. But anyway, man, I hope y'all get something from this video. I hope it changed somebody's mind and somebody's life. Because right now we need it. Y'all take care.